Initially, we had realised that there was a gap in our collection when we were looking at 2016 celebrations. We realised that there was very little footage of the first part of last century to do with Irish historical events. So we knew that they were filmed by British newsreel companies because Ireland didn't have a sustained newsreel production at that time. So we knew that we were going to have to go to non-Irish archives to retrieve that material. We had thought that the material was digitised already because we assumed that the larger archives in the UK had a process of digitisation. But we found when we went to repatriate the material that a lot of the digitisation had actually happened about 15 years ago. So the quality of the files was actually quite low compared to modern standards. So we had to persuade both organisations to go back to the original nitrate film, which is what the film was originally shot on, and to scan that at 2K.
This is the first time that this material will have been seen in over 100 years. So we're really giving a new lease of life to this newsreel footage. And it's interesting to watch it now for today's audiences. Because most of it was filmed by UK news crews, it has a certain propaganda slant to it. And we begin to see not only what Irish audience would have seen in cinemas back in the day, but we also get to see what they didn't see and the slants that were put on these newsreels. So it's really interesting to look at them in today's context as well.
What we see here is also interesting in terms of the development of news, because the newsreels share a lot of the common features that we still see in news today across a variety of platforms. So we can learn a lot from the way the newsreels presented particular stories and the way they approached politics. Well, I think one of the marked differences is the fact that we consume news on so many different platforms and that it's available to us 24 hours a day. In the past, people only had the cinema to go to before the advent of television to see moving image news. So it's really interesting to think in the differences in audiences between then and now. But of course, we still see similarities. News can still be very propagandist, it can lack context, it can often be accused of being trivial or lighthearted or being infotainment rather than serious news. And all of those features were part of the cinema newsreels back in the days before television was widespread.